Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Oh boy, that was... They had to restart there. Well, how's it going? What's the big case tonight? Obviously not this one. Let's see, did you guys see Robert De Niro today in New York? Like, right after the closing arguments, or right during them, the White House sent out Robert De Niro and all these people to trash and like tell people, I mean, it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It was so political. Robert De Niro's out there going, he could destroy the world, everybody. Well, so could you, Robert De Niro. You're such an idiot. He always thinks you know what? Robert De Niro thinks he's tough because he was on a movie. You know, like he was in a movie, so he's like this tough guy. I mean, it's ridiculous. The guy's an absolute tool. How embarrassing. Anyways, yeah, I don't know if I'll be covering Brianna Maitland anytime, soon. I mean, we'd already covered her the other day. I mean, maybe we'll do it again. I don't know. Thanks, Dan H. and Osiris Stewart. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys think that that's okay to do? Like right before the jury gets the case, and then they go out there and have like De Niro and everybody else trashing somebody. I mean, so that the jury can be like, hey, don't, you got to find something on this guy, man, because he could destroy the planet. I mean, I'm going to tell you this. If you're somebody out there that thinks he's somehow not going to get out of office in 4 years if he won, and he's going to destroy the planet, then you are whacked out in your head, okay? You are crazy. And I know, but here's the thing, is I know that's a common thing. I actually have these friends that believe that shit, like these, and I just look at them like, you guys are insane, man. He's not going to stay in, he just wanted to get his 8 years in, and he felt like, he deserved it. He did. I mean, he deserved to do it after the way our country was ran during those 4 years. COVID is what, even though he's the one that warp speeded the vaccines, that the press just sort of turned it around on him, and then as soon as he was out, the greatest vaccines in the world. Yeah, now everybody, sort of anti-vaccines. Huh? Yeah. Man, it's wild, man. I've never seen anything like it. Just delusional people. It's you know what it reminds me of? The same people like in the Idaho 4 case, the conspiracy nutters, the Delphi case, the Odinus. It's the same kind of crazy crap, but people who want to believe something believe it, and there's no no information whatsoever points to any of that stuff. Yeah, I don't even think he should act anymore at this point, De Niro. He's cuckoo. Yeah, so I actually built up, added stuff to the video that I made yesterday. Well, I haven't completed it yet, so I was going to do the same timeline thing again and talk about other things, but I put some screenshots in and different things to add to it. So it's going to be like an hour video. Yep, rest in peace, Bill Walton. I've had that video for over 10 years. There was this Blazer Mania album that after the Blazers won the championship, there was an album that they made with highlights from the championship season. And I memorized it when I was a kid. 198, Portland by 2. They had the ball 35 seconds ago. Calhoun on the inbound play to get the Bobby Gross right in front of us. Bobby takes a look, hands back. I just did I had it all memorized, right? But I always thought, like even 20 years ago, I go, man, wouldn't it be cool to get the video and sync it up to the audio of that record? And then I think back in like 2006 and 7, they actually started to play these old games. So I recorded some, and then you have to go through the whole game to find the precise moments they're talking about. And then I synced them up. I couldn't find the Denver series and the first 2 games in Los Angeles when we beat the Lakers there. But, from then on it was pretty good. You had the Maurice Lucas fight with Daryl Dawkins. Pretty good. And so I think it turned out well. I was able to find almost all of the rest of the footage to put in there. And so that video has always been unlisted. So I just made it public, and then it seems like, not a ton of people watched it, but, it was a few hundred. Pretty cool for Bill Walton. He's one of the best players ever to play. He just didn't get to play very much. He was like Jokic, but a better defensive player. Probably not the same outside shooter, but Jokic isn't that great of an outside shooter. But Walton was probably just one of the best passers ever to play. Just amazing. And he would just great rebounder. And what was cool about when he go up for a rebound, before he hit the ground, he would throw the ball down the court to somebody else. Like he'd jump in the air spinning, and then with both arms, just boom, to a guard that was already going up the court. Anyway, it was just awesome. And he did like behind the back pass, little tricky things all the time. I mean, he was great. And then he was injured for so long that he came back and played for the Celtics in '86. And they won the championship. He was Sixth Man of the Year. And I remember that year, that's kind of a cool year for me, because in '86, the Celtics were 40-1 at home, and they won the championship. I mean, that's incredible, right? But guess what? The Blazers had that one win on their court. And that was the start of our great teams, right before, '89-90, when we had made it to the championship. It was 4 of the guys that were on that team. So we saw the promise in that game. But yeah, they're talking about him tonight and everything. Yeah, I get punished though when I talk about the lesser cases, Jimmy McNutty. I mean, like, look at tonight. There's 158 people watching. It's going to be a struggle, likely, to reach the goal, and because we're talking about this other case. The other night, this guy named John Place, I think, came in here, and he's a pretty rude guy, but I think his mom actually was disappeared back in like 1988, I think, and you know, he was talking about, hey, look it up, look it up, look it up, look it up. So I found, actually after the show, I went on to newspapers.com and found the specific newspaper and then found the articles. So I thought we could go over that and see if we think it might be related to the Connecticut River Valley Killer, because it's kind of up in the same area. But hey, you guys, this show is just like every other night. If you're out there and you can help support the channel, I would appreciate it. Do a lot of great things with it, trying to, I mean, right now I'm not at a level where I can give away the, like my normal, I try to do 4,000 minimum a month, but we're not there yet. So if we can have a nice push at the end of the month, that'd be great. Let's see, that's just reminding me to forget hitting the like button. Yeah, hit the like button. Well, I'm just going to go over this. Let's just go over this case, the Betty Place case. Now, you know, based on, he wrote a letter to the editor, the guy that was in here, and he sounds exactly the same as the guy that was in here. I mean, literally identical. Hey, welcome. Well, looks like Live Free or Die got back into Oogla Boogla. Thanks, Kami. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see, Amber. We'll see. Yeah, it's tough when you got such a small number of people. And like last night, I wouldn't have made it either, except that one lady generously did the $100 super chat where they sort of made it, got us there. But other than that, wouldn't have done it. I mean, everybody helps it, but you know, like sometimes you get fortunate with that one bigger one. All right, so let's see, what is this one? I don't know if this is her here, but it's in the same area. And how many people are named Betty Place? I mean, that's like not really common at all. There was a couple other ones I could see, but this is 1955. She went missing in like 78, and you know, this sort of sounds like the right age, because she's like 30. I can't remember. I thought it was 38 or so. Thanks, Cheryl. So right here it says a family squabble resulted in Betty Place of Webster being charged with disorderly conduct in police court today. The woman pleaded guilty and the case was continued for sentence, with the court ordering her to make a restitution for broken windows at the home of Mr. and Mrs. George Whiting off Borough Road, where the alleged fracas occurred. And I don't know 100%. And this is Concord, New Hampshire, so sounds like it might be the same person. Not a lot of Betty people with that name out there for sure. All right, then 1978, so 23 years later, and she's 40. So back, she would have been 17 in the other, and this is also Concord, New Hampshire. So how many people named Betty Place live in Concord, New Hampshire? So this is the first reference here. It says New Hampshire State Police are looking for Betty Place, 40. Here, let's get to that one. Thanks, Ashley Hansen. Let's see. Okay, so Concord's just right over here. I'm just going to add it in here as a possibility. Yeah, and that's the same year also as let's see, Kathy Milliken and Kathy Milliken here. Right. So it's Kathy Milliken, and then 1981 was Mary Elizabeth Critchley, but maybe, Betty Place was another victim during the 78 time frame. Thanks, Ashley Hansen. All right. And they said, what road was that? Joppa Road. Oh, that's way over here even. Okay, so that's not, like, there's Concord, so now we're inside, getting really close to this area over here now. I guess that's Joppa Road there. That's East Joppa Road. So these are pretty crazy, like, wild back roads here. But yeah, now we're getting near this area over here. Incoming. Incoming. Thank you, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Huh. Well, maybe we'll get more specific here, but that's the area right there. And we just have, this first article is really small. There's no evidence of foul play, said Lieutenant Ernest Loomis. Police searched the area around her home and interviewed people in the area and found nothing. Police are asking anyone who may have information on her whereabouts to get in touch with them. Mrs. Place is the mother of 6 children and has in the past left home for up to several weeks at a time, her husband George said. Makes you wonder if that's true or not. I mean, this could be anything, you guys. I'm not saying this is particularly related to the Concord one, but that's what I'm assuming. That's why the Sun sent it. Sheriff seeks help in finding Warner woman. Foul play may be responsible for the mysterious disappearance of Betty Place, 41 of Warner, who has been missing since June 14th, according to the Merrimack County Sheriff's Ronald Daniels. Daniels has asked hunters and woodsmen to assist in the attempt to locate the woman. The mother of 6, Mrs. Place, disappeared in her bathrobe and slippers on the morning of June 14th, Daniels said. Daniels suspects foul play, he said, because no evidence has been found to indicate that Mrs. Place walked away from her home. Right. It kind of makes you wonder, I mean, again, this is one of those cases you think of the husband. Then there was just basically, I couldn't find any articles at all in there. As I said, it was 1978. And then there was this big article that came out. Yeah, this is 1999, so like 21 years later, this came out. And so we can take a look at it. Maybe we get way more details on this one. So that's June 14th, 1978. Betty Place watched her youngest daughter leave on the school bus. That morning she attended to do laundry and walk into town to pay the gas bill. An ordinary day, except it was the last that anyone says they saw Betsy Place. 21 years later, her family has no idea what happened to her. Her children, now grown, and siblings still pepper the state police with requests to read the file of the investigation back then, hoping that a statement, a fact, out of place might jog memory that solves the mystery. Hey, thanks, Amy. They have been told that details of an open case aren't available. Betty Place's shadow lingers just out of range of their lives, presence more than a memory because of unanswered questions. I always wanted people to know how much she meant to us, said John Place. I think that's the guy that was in the chat here. Her son, who was 14 when she vanished. She was a perfect mother to me. Betty remains a missing person to the state police. Today her file rests on Trooper Mike Nolan's desk in the Major Crimes Unit, and 2 weeks ago he and another officer and Rolf, a German shepherd trained to find human remains, searched the woods and sand pit behind Betty Place's house on one more time, they said. Hey, thanks, FarQ. Look at that. Gifted Dana O'Neill, Christy Girl, Green Eyed Pie, Anna, and Ray Death Ray. All people that were once members but aren't currently. But thank you. Maybe someday we'll be able to solve the mystery of Betty Place, said Sergeant David Kelly, Assistant Commander of Major Crimes. I remain hopeful that someone, somehow, an answer will be there. 21 years ago, the police used bloodhounds and manpower from the local police. Hey, thanks, FarQ. And that's the name, everybody. I'm not saying F you. 21 years ago, the police used bloodhounds and manpower from the local police. All right, so then A6. Yeah, this whole segment is it. I think this is pretty much the longest written anywhere about it. County Sheriff's Office and Fish Game, as well as their troopers, to search the woods, streams, and rivers near her house, he said. The case is baffling for its lack of leads. Even rumors were checked out, but all hit dead ends, he said. There was a concerted effort to locate her, said Kelly, who conducted his own search with the body recovery dog several years ago. This was not a case set aside as just another call. A person comes up supposedly missing under circumstances where she just vanishes. That is taken seriously. Although the state police won't say they had or have a suspect, Place's children say early on the police suspected their father, George. I honestly don't think my father had anything to do with it, said Lisa Berg, the Place's next to youngest daughter, who now lives in California. I think the police thought so, and that's all they focused on. The fact that suspicion fell close to home was horrible to grow up with, said John Place, that's the guy that was in here, who now lives in Deering. I love my father and didn't want to lose both my mother and my father, he said. Okay, but not wanting to lose them doesn't mean they don't have something to do with it. Betty Place was 40 years old in 1978. She was 5 feet tall, medium build, 140 pounds. She had married young, leaving school after the 10th grade, said her sister Mary Farrell, who lives in Raymond. The Place, yeah, that's their name. The Place family lived on West Joppa Road, past the covered bridge that crosses the Warner River. Okay, so now we can... And that, what was the name? George? Maybe it's, I bet, let's check. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe George lived there a long time. Let's see. I'll look it up. And this is in, what'd they call it? Concord, New Hampshire. And she's would be how old would she be now? 78. That'd be 48. How many years is that? No, 78 would be 22 plus 24, 46 plus 40, 86 years old. Maybe something like that. Okay, well this one, maybe this guy was older, I don't know. This guy's like 100 and... Thanks, WNC Granny. So he died in 1988, this guy. And is there one no address history. Can you believe it? No address history. I guarantee that's the guy, though. Let me just try Betty Place, New Hampshire. And so she would be 80 something years old. Well, there was one that showed up. It's not looking good for an address, though. Hey, thanks for gifting a membership, WNC Granny. Oh, there it is. Can you believe it? The address was in there. That is absolutely crazy. Look at this. 119 Joppa Road. And there it is on the west. And then so this is it. So maybe this house over here. But that's the address right there. Betty Place. And yeah, so maybe this was the house. Right there. Wow, look at this crazy little area here with a little creek in front of the homes and everything. Pretty spooky looking. And then they mentioned a bridge going over. What was that wording? Because that's definitely well, that says Red Chimney Road. Okay, I want west. No, that's not the right spot. It's right here. It's West Joppa Road, not that one. I don't know why that pin even showed up there. So hold on. Matt Warner. So that definitely is it right there. So maybe that house right there, and they own this property. And then they did mention a river, so this doesn't have anything to do with it here. So look at it, man. It does close to these areas over here. In fact, where is Kathy Milliken on here? Yeah, see, Milliken's over on the east side. Look at that. So that's Kathy Milliken right there. And this is Betty Place, same year. And she disappeared. I mean, that's kind of interesting, you know? How many miles is this? 11. I mean, that's right there, Wow. If it was way over here, I wouldn't think as much, but that's crazy that it's the most eastern name in that series. And then look, Betty Place, same year as Kathy Milliken, right there. And then how old was Kathy Milliken? She's 26. 26-year-old. Interesting. Currently we are at 1/16 of the goal. 16%. Let's see. Get back to that article. West Joppa Road, past the covered bridge that crosses the Warner River and far enough into the section of town called Mink Hills that the road turns to dirt. Huh. So what's the... Okay, there's the covered bridge right there. So that's definitely going to be... back in the day, that was probably dirt. Let's see if we go back to 1998. Yeah, see, look at that. Looks like it's just a dirt road in 1998. But now it's paved. It's different. Yeah, and there's even... this is what it looks like now. So it's paved, but that wasn't paved in 98 when that article came out. And there's the covered bridge. So yeah, we got definitely got that nailed. Betty Place, 40 years old, 1978. The Place family lived in West Joppa Road, past the covered bridge that crosses the Warner River, and far enough into that section of town called the Mink Hills that the road turns to dirt. She and George, who had since died, so he died in 88, had 6 children, ages 7 to 22. George, who had had a 6th grade education, earned a living as a woodsman. We were a poor family, but we were a happy family, John Place said. Hey, thanks, far cute. Betty was its heart and the household manager, making sure everyone had what they needed, despite the family never having much. George was more remote. Not a man to, George was more remote, not a man to tell you what was on his mind, said Mary Lou Sealant, Betty's oldest daughter, who lives in California and lived in Chicago when her mother disappeared. Hey, thanks, Paulette Leonard. On that day, George Place planned to work in Webster at the woodlot of a friend. Since the Places had no car, he hitchhiked. Betty's oldest son, George Jr., was living in Concord, and Richard, the next oldest son, was working. John missed the bus and tried to hitchhike to middle school in New London. He never got rides he needed and later returned to Warner and his girlfriend's house, he said. Wendy, the youngest daughter, went to school on the bus. Lisa had permission to sleep in because she had been out late at a school recital the night before. She was in the house during the time that her mother disappeared. She remembers nothing unusual, not even the barking of the dog. What the hell is that? Who's is that Facebook? Hold on. Wait, hold on. Hold on a second. Let me get this thing. Hello? Hey, is this Erica?
It is.
Well, I'm actually doing my show right now, but
Oh, I'm so sorry.
it's okay. But I'm live right now with you talking. So if you had something you can share, but if you don't, I'll just call you back or something.
I do a little bit.
Well, this is Erica Pillsbury, Mercedes Vega's mom. Remember? All right. So I'm just letting people know.
Okay.
I didn't want to leave you hanging there, so.
No, you're fine. I just was checking on you. Also wanted to let you know that there are some things that may be coming up very shortly, and I'm going to share them with you, especially since it might make sense to kind of track out where the vehicles go when it comes to my daughter's murder,
Oh, wow. Okay.
which I know you're very great at.
Well, thank you.
Oh, well, don't thank me.
Well, thanks for
I didn't.
saying that, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, so what kind of information is coming out where there's
Well,
type of
the
information?
body cam footage
Mm-hmm.
of the vehicle she was found in, which hopefully can give us some information on, you know, obviously she was found on the I-10, and that there's a possibility that the cars may have been following each other at one point, her vehicle and that 2018 Chevy Malibu.
Mm-hmm. But do they have footage of that, or?
Yeah.
Ah.
Sounds like it might be coming out too.
Oh, well, there you go.
But I know you and a lot of your followers are very good at looking at locations and following cameras and looking to see where they may have been able to capture footage and things like that. So I really feel it's important that I share that with you.
That'd be
It
awesome.
could come out as soon as tonight
Oh,
or a week from now. I'm not sure.
well, if they come out tonight, just ping me. We'll switch over. All right, that sounds good. Wow.
I just wanted to check in, and I didn't mean to interrupt your podcast.
No, it's okay.
I'm sure you're doing something very important for someone who's been.
It's an old cold case, this one is, but you know, you're important too. I mean, this is something going on, so
Every case is important,
Yeah.
so I didn't want to interrupt, and I apologize for doing so. But
well, you have to apologize.
I know that there are certain places that if we can get that camera footage, or we can show, you know, her apartment and where it was and where her car was found and the vehicle, and then possibly the salvage vehicle that she was found burned alive in, and the path of that and how it would have gotten either, well, most likely to her apartment, seems pretty important. So I was just reaching out to you because
Yeah, now
you're
my phone's
the
ringing.
best at that.
Well,
so.
thank you. Yeah, well, I mean, you don't have to apologize. I answered the phone because it's important to talk to you, and you know, if I didn't answer, you wouldn't have interrupted the show. But I chose to have you interrupt the show. How do you like that?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. I also
Okay.
want to, all right, if I'm here and on and I'm live, I just want to thank all the people that, and you and your team for all that you've done. I feel like something's coming soon. But any information we can get will be helpful.
Yeah, no, it'd be great. I'd be really looking forward to getting that new information and seeing what we can
So,
see from it. You know.
yep. And then we are, the body cam footage of them walking up to finding Mercedes in the back of the car.
Wow.
Obviously it's, you know, she's, you know, been pixelated and things like that,
Okay.
but there's a lot of information I think you can gain just by looking at a vehicle, the way it's parked, the way it's been driven off the road, you know, might strike someone as, oh, that's strange. I saw that car. And also the car was previously wrecked. So,
Yeah.
I will let you get back to your podcast. I did not mean to interrupt.
Well, no, it's no big deal. So yeah, send it to me as soon as you get it, and we'll switch right over to that. Whatever I'm doing, we'll do that. Okay.
Well, I appreciate that very, very much. I also wanted to mention to you, and I wasn't sure if you were aware, that the person that called 911 said that there was something on fire in the back of a vehicle, and it was about 25 yards off the road, off of I-10,
Mm-hmm.
at a mile marker 85 and a half. If that seems to matter to anyone or ignites a...
Well, what do you mean? So that it was the same car, but there was somebody or a different vehicle. What are you referring to?
It was the 2018 Chevy Malibu.
But there was a fire in the back of the vehicle.
Yeah, the driver of the semi reported seeing something on fire in the back seat of the vehicle about 25 yards north of I-10 heading west.
But I mean, so it wasn't in the vehicle itself?
It was in the back seat of the vehicle.
Okay, so you're just giving me, okay, we already know that location though, right? Mile
Yes.
marker 85, and okay. Yeah. And then he also said he saw somebody moving, right? Like
they also said, well, he also said that he saw someone walking around the vehicle.
Right. And probably, was there another car there then?
He did not mention another vehicle, but doesn't mean there wasn't another one there. So just trying to get anyone who had maybe been traveling that corridor or aware of that, or had seen a 2018 Chevy Malibu with a broken front bumper and on the driver's side damage, that is the vehicle that Mercedes was found burned alive in.
Yeah, mile marker 85
and a half. 85 and a half.
Oh, okay. So maybe we were a little off. I think I might be right on the... So it's 85 and a half miles. Let's see. Or, it's usually a mile. Okay, so it's 85 I'm on. So do they do, or is it they're just an 86 and then it's just right in between? Is that how they do it? Or they're literally like 85.1?
A mile marker is a mile long. I mean,
right.
And then, yeah.
Well, some states have 85.1, 85.2 mile mark. They really break it down. This might be one that's every mile, right?
Arizona has just mile markers.
Okay. All right, so I'll just move it forward a half mile. As a matter of fact,
it's not right on the freeway itself. It's 25 yards off of the freeway. From what it sounds like and what I've learned, that maybe it had careened into where it ended up. And because the back seat was on fire, the semi driver was very concerned about a forest fire because it was in the bushes. So I wanted to share that with you too.
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna move the pin a half mile. Like it looks like. So it's like right at it. They measured it. So let me just.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, 85
Close.
and a half. I don't know how more specific they can get.
85.132.
Yeah, my guess is they don't do it like that. They go, oh, well, it's in between this one and this one, so they'll call it half.
Okay.
But I find it important to know that it wasn't right off the side of the freeway, but that it was 25 yards off the road.
Okay.
And that it seemed like it had careened somehow into the ditch, which I'm hoping was my daughter fighting.
Yeah, it's interesting that it did that.
But as soon as I have the body cam footage, I will reach out to you. I'll give it to you. And and that probably will tell us quite a bit more.
Have you ever got any calls to your tip line?
Well, not to me specifically. I'm not able to get that information. In the beginning I was, now it goes straight to Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and it's all confidential, and it should be, because even if the person just had some sort of small involvement in tipping off where she was going or what she was doing, Arizona state law requires that everyone involved faces all the same charges, and that is first degree murder, first degree kidnapping.
Yeah. Like felony murder, right? So like, but those are the good ones to get pressure on. See,
well, yeah.
Well, the ones that actually commit the murder yourself, that's the one you're looking for. So they use felony murder as a bargaining chip for the others, you know,
Right.
saying, hey, you got the same charges, but, you know.
Well, also, you know, I thought about sitting down with you and kind of going over the avenues that her car or the other car could have taken down to where her car was found, which I recently found out was not parked and a meter expired, but in the middle of the road.
Oh, wow. So it was just like blocking the road from anybody that wanted to drive by.
Yes.
Like almost like if somebody wanted to get out really quick and just didn't even have time. That's kind of strange. Or and it makes it does make it easier to transfer her
time,
though.
Maybe tomorrow or the next day. And you want to kind of go over it, like any avenue that they could take, drive over that bridge.
Yeah.
Into that area, and then what way they would have to take to get out on the 10. I'd be more than happy to do so.
Yeah, we could do that. Maybe what about like tomorrow? You could come on and we could do that.
Yeah. Whatever.
Well, I mean, whatever. Yeah, whatever works for you, really. But
yeah, I think tomorrow's fine. Trying to think. Yeah, tomorrow should be fine. We could maybe go over well, not only from where she worked to where she lived to where her car was found to the 10 to the place where she was found burned alive.
Yeah. Well, I think I just I pinned it in at 85 and a half, and then 25 yards off the road I put a pin too, so I got all that in there now.
Okay. Well, if you want to give me a call maybe tomorrow morning or whatever, we can go through all the addresses and figure that out. I know you've got a great audience and people who are very cerebral and can help figure out things that I'm not necessarily very great at. I'm emotional because it's my dead child. So I need people like you and your listeners who are like, oh, wait a minute, they could have gone this way or this way or this way. If you're okay with calling me tomorrow, in the morning, and maybe we can do something tomorrow afternoon or evening on your podcast.
Yeah, no, my morning's different than your morning because I usually I do my show late, so I get up at what time is it there right now? It's 7:06 here. Is it 8:06 there, or?
No, it's 7:06 here.
Oh wow, okay, that's crazy. So that you guys don't actually change your you don't have daylight savings time.
No, we don't have a time change.
So you're different than me, an hour behind one
sometimes.
For 6 months. Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're the
and
same.
my husband and I have been fighting this bug that we've had, but tomorrow I am free and open. If you would like to call me noon, whatever, 1, and we can maybe go over the possible routes that people could have taken.
Yeah, no, it sounds good.
You.
No, it sounds good. We could just, I could do
Yeah,
a
I don't
Zoom
want
or
to take over
something.
your show, and you probably have something way more important.
No,
to
no, we've been
report.
covering it for a long time, so I
So,
want to be.
and then hopefully tomorrow, hopefully we get the body cam, which would be really awesome to do at the same time.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, no, it'd be cool to get it, all of it tomorrow. I mean, what are they telling you about that?
Well, they've been telling me that I've been able to get it for over a month, but when I called them last Thursday, they said we're doing our best. Just because I guess it's very difficult to go into body camera footage and pixelate things that people shouldn't see, assuming it's my child on fire, or the remnants of that.
Well, hopefully they blur it out. I don't want to
Yeah,
show that.
that's what they're doing.
Yeah, jeez.
But I feel like if someone can maybe see that car and the damage that was already done to it before, the car actually wasn't lit on fire. My child's body was lit on fire. When the 911 caller calls, he says there's something burning in the back seat. He doesn't say that the car is on fire.
Yeah, so it's almost like they set her on fire and then that got the rest of the car on fire, right?
They did. They concentrated the lighter fluid on her face and her hands.
And then she
lit her on fire.
Yeah, and she had and bleach in her throat too.
And bleach in her throat. Yes, she died of smoke inhalation. She could have survived in a horrible way on the injuries that she received, but she died because she was breathing in the smoke of her own body on fire.
Yeah, that's just. Well, hopefully we catch this guy and they never get the same punishment that they inflict on other people. You know, that's the shitty part.
Oh, if only.
Yeah, I wish we did like eye for an eye. You know, like they got the same thing that they did.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That'd be great, but well, I'm sorry you're still having to go through all. I mean, it's going to be, you know, the problem in your case is there's no resolution until this is solved, and then there's still no resolution. You'll always be bummed, but at least you can, you know, there was justice done in the name of for your daughter. I mean, and then, but like in the meantime, it's just sort of this limbo state.
That's exactly where I'm at. You're right, Gray.
Yeah. So I'm sorry you having to go through that.
Thank you. Thank you for answering.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I'll get a hold of you
before
you get
before
noon.
You get up around noon or 1 tomorrow.
Okay, well, I get up before that. But, all right. Well,
yeah, but maybe we can do some mapping.
Okay.
And maybe, fingers crossed, we'll have maybe some body camera footage.
Yeah, hopefully we get it. So, all right. Well, I'll call you an hour after. I usually get up at 9 something, so maybe it'll be like 10. All right, 10 or 11.
Perfect.
All right. Okay. All right.
Good night.
Well, thanks for calling. All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was Erica Pillsbury, the mother of Mercedes Vega, a girl that was. I think she was like 21. I don't remember exactly the age. I think she was 21 years old. She was an exotic dancer, part-time, you know, making money for school. And then she's supposed to go out a night, and then you see her come down out of the like an elevator to go to the parking garage. And then apparently before she got to her car, she was attacked by somebody because there's blood on the ground, and they took her away in her vehicle. So likely there was some other vehicle that was there too, driving the person who attacked her away, probably even 2 or 3 people, probably 2 in her vehicle driving her away, and then her car was about a mile away from the scene, parked in the middle of the road, it sounds like. And then she was obviously put into another vehicle, and then, or, you know, we don't know the order. It could have been that she was taken to a house and then that car was dumped back there later. But, you know, then she was put into a different vehicle and, you know, driven like 60 miles away and set on fire. It had been shot, hit in the head, bleach in her throat, and then set on fire. I mean, just absolutely horrendous. But you guys, we're getting crushed again tonight, so look where we're at. Can you see the goal meter on the screen there? I mean, just absolutely horrendous again. Not sure. Yesterday wasn't too bad. The day before, you know, we barely squeaked by. But let's see if you guys, if you're out there and you can help support the channel, that'd be great. We do a lot of great things here, and definitely be talking to Erica tomorrow. And if we can get that body camera footage, start getting more information out there for people to look at, that'd be great. Yeah, 22. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have a whole folder on it. I just didn't remember exactly if it was 21 or 22. Yeah, despite what the wackos on social media say, yes, I do try to raise funds and super chats on my shows because that's what keeps us going, doing what we're doing here. All right? So, I mean, that's what they always bitch about. Oh, that gray guy, he's trying to get the super chats he's doing. And the reason is, everybody, is on these shows, there is no other source of income. So if you feel like a whole night worth of work and day putting stuff together is worth, you know, all we're at right now, then that's all I'm worth. Okay, but if you think I'm worth more, I would appreciate your guys' support, because I do put a lot of effort in to getting stuff ready for shows and doing shows and trying to make a difference. You know, we do a lot of great stuff during the month. This month is going to all basically, everything at the end of the month is going to go to our scholarship fund, because I haven't been able to put any in there because I've been shoring up our DNA fund. Thanks, Alley Cat and FarQ. And that's her name, everybody. What are you laughing at? Yeah. Problem is you know, the way they trash me out there, it affects some people. You know, there's some people that go, yeah, I don't like that either. I don't like it that he, you know, it just is the way it is, you guys. I've told you before, if it gets to a point where it's not working anymore, this model that we're doing here, then I'm probably just going to have to start making video after video after video and not doing live streams. Because if I got it to the point where people were, okay, they're expecting videos, you know, I could maybe get up to 30, 40,000 views on the videos, and then that would be equivalent. And then I probably wouldn't donate quite as much, because then it's just all my effort and nobody else is contributing to what we're doing. Right? So the way I'm doing it is like, you guys are supporting me, so then I'm going to give away a lot of it too. Right. So anyways, I don't know what else to tell you guys. Let me go back to the other case now. Yeah, right here. So it's pretty interesting that Betty Place does live kind of close to where Kathy Milliken lived. Thank you, Wendy. Officers combed a quarter-mile radius. Are we on that one? No, we're still on this one. Wendy, the youngest daughter, went to school on a bus. Lisa had permission to sleep in because she had been out late at a school recital the night before. She was in the house during the time that her mother disappeared. She remembers nothing unusual, not even barking of their dogs. Hey, thank you, Flounder23 and Wendy. I just remember my father coming in and waking me up and asking where my mother was, she said. I just remember getting up and looking and not finding her. But remember, this is the case of Betty Place. A guy named John Place, the son of Betty Place, thinks that maybe Betty Place is also one of the victims in the Connecticut River Valley killer case. And so we're taking a look at that one. They agreed nothing at the house indicated violence. John recalled, well, thanks, WNC Granny, for saying that, but I don't want anybody sending a nickel if you can't afford it, though. That's the thing. John recalls that the washing machine was pulled out to do laundry. They agreed nothing out of the house indicated violence. John recalls that the washing machine was pulled out to do laundry. Mary Lou said clothes were still draped over the line, so it sounds like she was, I mean, that's sort of interesting too. Even like a domestic issue would be strange also, given those facts. That means she was up and doing things. It wasn't like she mysteriously disappeared the night before. The line when she arrived from Chicago, as though her mother hadn't finished hanging them up. Yeah, interesting, right? Lisa remembers her mother was supposed to pay the gas bill and that her father wondered if she had left to do that. Huh. Thanks, Michelle H. and Allie K. Kelly said the state police were notified the day after Betty's disappearance. Frederick said he wasn't called until Betty was gone, a few days at least. Ron Daniels, a county sheriff at the time, said his office, wasn't called for at least 2 weeks. Farrell said she didn't know her sister was missing until 6 days later, but Betsy's children said they called some of their mother's relatives right away, thinking she might have gone to one of their houses. You know, but it's also like she's disappeared before, but why would she disappear right in the middle of doing laundry? You know, that seems weird. John, Lisa, Wendy, and Mary Lou.
Hey, Gray, I wasn't there.
Well, there's another Mary Lou in the world, Mary Lou.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Wow, what a dummy. Come on, Mary Lou. Jesus. There's other Mary Lou's, for God's sakes. They had their own ideas, C. Lance said. They just kind of wrote us off. Law enforcement officials said they did their job from days of searching to questioning people and in and out of the family. What does that mean? They had their own ideas. Let me read this part again. John, Lisa, Wendy, and Mary Lou say no police officers questioned them during those first days. As the oldest, Mary Lou tried to talk to the police, but was treated like a child, she said. They had their own ideas, Sealant said. They just kind of wrote us off. Law enforcement officials say they did their job from days of searching to questioning people in and out of the family. They conducted a number of searches around the house, in the woods, the river, the streams, Kelly said. They went up and down the Warner River in canoes. Among those interrogated were friends, neighbors, and George Sr.'s employer. There was time accounted for in George Sr.'s day, Daniel said. Unaccounted for. So there was time unaccounted for in George Sr.'s day, Daniel said. He couldn't remember if the oldest son's alibi was confirmed. Officers combed a quarter-mile radius around the house and made a less thorough search within a half-mile radius. They checked cemetery tombs. They dug in a depression they found on a knoll near the Place's house, he said. Her last name is Place. Thanks, FarQ again. Pancakes, FarQ. Alley Cake, Michelle H. Hey, we're at 33% now. Later, someone called in a clairvoyant. Oh boy, Jesus. Let's see. They dug in a depression they found on a knoll. Here, let me go down here really quick. Yeah, that's not it there. So they did, what'd they say? A quarter mile. That's the good search that they did. And then one more. And then they did a half mile too. Not as good. Why don't you try a super thanks, e.g. more if you want. And then type in something if you wanted to make a comment. Try that. Yeah, super stickers, I mean, not super thanks. That's on after the show's over. But hey, thank you. All right, let's see. The state police did notice vegetation. All right, later someone called in a clairvoyant, Frederick said, but nothing came of it. Wow, what a shock, huh? What a shock that nothing came of that. I mean, that's just... Elegant little body, skip it. Yeah. John said he and his brother searched too. Farrell said she tromped through the woods and found a jacket she still believes was George Sr.'s and clothing labels she is convinced belonged on a new bathrobe her sister bought. None of her efforts went anywhere, she said. Over the years, she and another sister visited 2 psychics and organized a seance. Oh, Jesus. We were desperate, she said. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's when the psychics pray right there. All 3 psychics said her sister was buried near water. Oh, that's so classic. It's buried, listen, it is buried near water. There's a mountain. You can see a mountain somewhere. Yeah, there's a stream of some sort. I think his name starts with a J or Jim or a J or a T or a... All 3 psychics said her sister was buried near water, because that's the classic answer. That's why they said that. And provided images both plausible and elusive. Farrell can match some to nearby landmarks, a huge culvert like other under Interstate 89 near the house, the number 24 on a nearby highway bridge, a footbridge like one crossing the stream behind the Place's yard. Other images were vague: red flowers, a 2-tone car, trash, a white house, cooking grates, chemicals. Farrell launched another effort to get the police to look for her sister this spring. I never believed she disappeared, Farrell said. I have no doubt somebody killed my sister. If the state police won't discuss possible suspects, Daniels is straightforward. He suspected George Place Sr. George Sr. told police his wife had left but no evidence. A bus ticket, contact with family, supported that what he said. Okay, so George Sr. told police his wife had left but no evidence. A bus ticket, contact with family, supported that, he said. I just didn't buy that theory, he said. George was a hunter and fisherman, a man who knew the woods well. He had a temper, neighbors told Daniels. He was strong enough to carry a deer in the woods, Daniels said. But there was no evidence of homicide, he said. Family members didn't believe Betty Place took off either. Farrell said her sister would never leave her kids. John, Lisa, and Mary Lou said their mother wasn't one to leave home to do her own thing. She was always there, Lisa said. She wasn't a mom and that went out with friends. I never remember her leaving. Thanks, FARQ again. And then if she just left, it wasn't by her own will, John said. Us kids were her life. But Mary Lou Sealant said her father's terse statements that Betty abandoned them made sense to someone who understood his nature. He was an insecure man who wouldn't want to talk about such a thing. Once the police eyed him with suspicion, he would become less cooperative, she said. The way everything happened, his shutting down, is perfectly normal to me, she said. That was the way he handled everything. She also can't envision anything violent happening at her home without Lisa hearing something. Her parents fought, but they were loud about it. Also, the span between the time her mother was home and the time she was discovered missing was short and during daylight, making it hard for her to imagine an elaborate cover-up, she said. She was flabbergasted by the direction the police took their investigation. They spooked everyone about Dad having something to do with it, Sealand said. John stayed close to his father, but the accusations fostered doubts. I've spent my whole life torn, John said. I lived not knowing if my father was responsible for the most awful thing that happened in my life. That would just totally suck. I mean, think about like if you had parents that you loved your mom and everything was great, and then one day you just never see her again and you don't ever have answers. Man, Jesus. It's horrendous. Thanks, Zozo and FARQ. I mean, not FARQ, but you know what I'm saying. Thanks, Zozo, and FARQ, okay? And sometimes if things aren't working on your super chats, you have to sign out and sign back in again to Google. Like literally sign out of Google and then back in again. This is when their father was in the hospital. Okay, she was flabbergasted by the direction the police took their investigation. Where were we at here? Didn't believe Betty Place took off either. Yeah. Happened, his shutting down is perfectly normal. Okay. She also can't envision anything violent happening. She was flabbergasted by the direction the police took. They spooked everyone about Dad having something to do with it, Sealand said. John stayed close to his father, but the accusations fostered doubts. I spent my whole life torn, John said. I lived not knowing if my father was responsible for the most awful thing that happened in my life. When their father was in the hospital with cancer 13 years later, John and Mary Lou each worked up the courage to ask him if he knew what happened to their mother. He looked me in the eye and he told me no. He said, "No, John, I don't know what happened to Betty." And maybe that was enough for them to believe him. Thanks, Allie Cake. A suspect to the end. Before George Place died, the state police investigator, then in charge of Betty Place's disappearance, showed up at the hospital wanting to question him. Sergeant Ben Mosrell asked John to leave the room, but he assumed Mosrell was looking for a confession or new information. Around that time, Lisa also got a call from Mosrell. He began by saying he knew where her mother was, buried in a canister, and implied she knew who did it. He wanted to arrange... Who's this person? Sergeant Ben Mosrell. He began by saying he knew where her mother was, buried in a canister, and implied that she knew who did it. He wanted to arrange for a lie detector test. I said no. She said, for years in between, nothing has been done. And every once in a while, they call and accuse us of things. John said his more recent attempts to see the place file, left him feeling like a suspect. Kelly and Mosrell, now retired, put a lot of effort into solving the Place case, including sending Kelly and a search dog back to Warner. Dogs that can find human remains, such as bones, were fairly new to police work then, he said. It's a struggle today, FARQ. But anyways, thank you guys for at least, trying. You can, it's always the cases is what determine. John was holding his father's hand when he died. At first it said, Mosrell wanted to give it everything we got, Kelly said. I did that. Searched several days. John was holding his father's hand when he died, and afterwards he sat on the floor and thought the death represented an end of a chapter. Instead, he wanted to ask more questions. He and Lisa said they were too young and upset to ask the right questions of the police when their mother vanished. Now the answers are locked away in the file. I think so much more should have been done, Lisa said. But I don't know what they did do. I wonder if they talked to people that she knew and there was other things going on. What are you talking about, Debbie? Like he's missing your boyfriend or what? My ex-boyfriend borrowed my car this morning and I had to call the police. They responded but said last my car was seen was 3 p.m. I'm sure it's nothing. Wait, so your car's missing and your roommate of 26 years died in your arms? Yeah, that's a lot of stuff going on there. Let's see. Kelly, he and Lisa said they were too young and upset to ask the right questions of the police when their mother vanished. Now the answers are locked away in the file. I think so much more should have been done, Lisa said, but I don't know what they did do. John wants to know if the police followed every lead, and he wants to read firsthand what the father said then. If I could hear what my father said, I could make a better judgment internally whether he was telling the truth, John said. Kelly said he sympathized, but that the state police wouldn't risk the integrity of the facts they gathered by making them public in the case of a breakthrough that could jeopardize conviction. It could give the perpetrator, if there is one, the chance to get all their ducks in a row. Sealant has no hope the police will solve her mother's disappearance at this late date. The answer will come through luck now, she said. She and Lisa have been sure their mother is dead since their brother Richard was killed in a car crash in 1984. Their mother didn't return or even call, Seelan said. That was the thing that said definitely she was gone. Still, a hang-up call on a telephone is enough to set memories in motion. Last year, when a woman's remains were discovered in Hopkinton and hadn't yet been identified as Luella Blakesley of Hooksett, the place's first question was whether it was their mother. It's tragic what happened to us, said Lisa Berg. For years I wanted to try to forget it, but the more I look back, the more I would love to know what happened. I have a lot of questions. A lot of questions. And then, yeah, they must have some information about the father that really makes him seem like a very likely suspect, but they can't, they're not going to tell people what that was. But you'd think after he passed away, they would probably, maybe give out more information about that. Oh yeah, so this was kind of a weird thing here. It's like almost like the Hatfields and McCoys here. So it's like in the winter of 2004, Wendy and Brian Ruff slaughtered a boar in front of their West Joppa Road home, letting its blood run through the snow. They butchered it and put the meat into a freezer, but not the head. Neighbors had been complaining that the boar, which lived outside on the Ruff's small property, along with more than 50 other animals, was cold and needed shelter. To show the neighbors what she thought of their complaints, Wendy Ruff said she propped the boar's head in a tree facing the unpaved road, along with a poem written in the boar's voice, which told how cruel neighbors had cost it its life. Jesus. The head remained in the tree for several months until it rotted and fell to the ground. This is crazy. There is little goodwill between the Ruffs and their neighbors, or between the Ruffs and the town officials who have been called in to mediate their disputes over the years. Last month, town and state officials... same one there. State officials responded to escalating neighborhood complaints when the town health officer got a search warrant allowing him to inspect the house. When he went inside, he discovered conditions he described as deplorable. Animals were living in the house and leaving their waste behind. Loose insulation sagged from unfinished walls. Pornography was tacked up in the bedrooms where 5 children ages 11 through 17 slept. The health officer condemned the house. The state veterinarian instructed the police to seize 57 animals. The selectmen demanded improvements to the house and full cleanup of the yard, which was full of unregistered cars, wooden doghouses, scrap metal, bicycles, and... this sounds crazy. I mean, look at that picture right there. Holy shit. Oh, man. Broken toys. Last week, Wendy and Brian Ruff were both arrested for child endangerment and face up to 5 years in prison if they are convicted. Brian was arrested again on Monday in charges of domestic assault and resisting arrest. Wendy Ruff, who has lived on the West Joppa Road property nearly all her life, sees these actions as the latest in a lifetime of persecution by the town of Warner, which she believes wants to drive her away. Neighbors say the town's actions were long overdue and that the police had been ignoring the Ruffs for 20 years. They say the roughs were not the victims of malice and neglect, but the instigators of conflict in the neighborhood. Of 11 interviewed, only one agreed to allow their name to appear in the newspaper. The others said they feared retribution. A few days after her home was condemned, Wendy Ruff stood in her house and provided the summary of the situation. For years, I have fought with the town, and the town has fought with me, she said. A problem from day one. West Joppa Road. So this is the same road that Betty Place lived on. West Joppa Road crosses Warner Main Drag a few yards before the post office. To get to the Ruff's house, you travel over a covered bridge and under Interstate 89, exactly what we just showed you. Then the paved road turns to dirt. Almost sounds like the same article. The Ruff's small plot, just over half an acre and bursting at the seams, is surrounded on either side by new colonials with neat lawns. The Ruff home, hastily built and still incomplete, has visible Tyvek wrap and, until recently, debris and animals all around. The house on the left has a fenced-in vegetable garden and is surrounded by surveillance cameras. The house on the right features a yellow sign with a picture of a Rottweiler. Behind the property are the woods where Wendy Ruff's father once hunted beavers for fur. Hey, thanks Peter and FarQ. FarQ's trying to get people to help the channel tonight, but it's falling on deaf ears just like my pleas. Alright, let's see. I want to go down and look at this, because I bet you can see this. This is actually a street view road here. This was a dirt road at one time. Oh, then is that dirt right there again? Oh yeah, now it's dirt. Jeez. Oh, and they don't keep going on it. Yep. Yeah, it stops right there on that corner. So I guess you don't get to see, you know, it's probably one of these other homes right there though. Who are you talking about, Veruca Salt? I don't even know what you're referring to. No idea. The police officials said the recent inspection of the Ruff's home came after a 6-month period with an unprecedented number of complaints, including accusations of biting dogs, geese in the road, and pigs in the house. This may be because the Ruffs are flanked by two relatively new neighbors. Many, what is this? That's 2005, this one. Many of the longtime neighbors said they have given up on calling the police. Some have turned to writing anonymous letters to the state officials. The police are regulars on West Joppa Road. One year, they responded to 367 calls from the Ruff residents alone. That's more than one a day. That's crazy. Let's see. But both the Ruffs and the neighbors feel that the police have not done enough to keep the peace in the neighborhood. Each group claims that its property has been vandalized. Neighbors describe slashed tires and screens, while Wendy Ruff complained of a broken chandelier and a bullet hole in the window. The police have not charged anyone for these alleged crimes. Sergeant Scott Leopard said the police have tried hard to encourage the Ruffs and their neighbors to solve their own problems and have only made arrests when serious crimes have been committed. The solution is not going over there and arresting everybody all the time, he said. It's not 20 years ago where you show up with clubs and start beating people and haul them off to jail. This is community policing. Frustrations that the roughs run farther than the police station. The health officer has been inspecting the house for years along with workers from the Division of Children, Youth, and Families. The Concord SPCA's director called in the state vet numerous times, hoping that his evaluation would change. The selectmen would periodically make demands, and let me type in the name. Hold on a second, so we don't have to keep. I'm sure it's a shitty house. So this is Betty. Yeah, right here. So somehow they're mentioned in here. 5-year stretch of hell. The people in the community, Wendy, 37, is the face of the Ruff family. She's garrulous, it says, not gregarious. Thanks, Allie Cake, and fark you again. To people in the community, Wendy, 37, is the face of the Ruff family. She's garrulous, intelligent, and she needs conflict in her life, said her sister-in-law, Christy Ruff. Wendy has dark, curly hair, just beginning to gray, and a face that shifts expression quickly. She was the youngest of 5 children who grew up in a smaller house on the same property. Her father cut wood with a chainsaw and built the house himself. It was a modest affair, 1 room with a separate outhouse and no running water. I used to get picked up in school because I lived in a chicken coop, her brother John Place said. But according to Place, so that's John Place. Let's see. I used to get picked on in school because I lived in a chicken coop. Her brother. Wait, whose brother? So is Wendy Ruff actually? Christy Ruff. Wendy has dark curly hair, beginning to gray. Let's see, a face that shifts expressions quickly. She was the youngest of 5 children who grew up in a small home on the same property. Her father cut wood with a this is so this Wendy Ruff is actually one of the children of Betty Place. Is that crazy? Hold on, let me go back to the other. Is one of these people named Wendy right here? This one just has Betty, George, Mary Lou, and George Jr. So, but there's a 5th. Remember how there's 5 children? Man, that's crazy. It was a modest affair, 1 room. I used to get picked on in school because I lived in a chicken coop, her brother John Place said. But according to Place, Ruff and their aunt, Mary Farrell, the home was always clean and the children were well taken care of. I never felt poor, Place said. In 1978, when Ruff was 10, her mother, Betty Place, disappeared. Her whereabouts remain a mystery. From the beginning of the investigation, the Warner police and townspeople said they suspected that George Place, Ruff's father, had killed his wife. He was big, strong man who was known to have a jealous temper, but repeated searches turned up nothing. Place died of cancer in 1992. I thought it was 1988, but anyways, maintaining his innocence on his deathbed. Police officer told her, let's see, quote, "One less Place on the road," after hearing the news. John Place calls the period of 5-year stretch of hell, but he said the most difficult part was feeling isolated from the neighbors and peers. It's not like we got sympathy from anybody. We got turned upon by the town of Warner, by everybody, he said. If you ever really look into the history of the Place family and now the Ruff family, you'll see that they've been trying to drive us out since 1978. It is a familiar complaint to Warner officials and the police, and one they don't agree with. Wendy's perception is that the town has always been against her. She thinks the town is trying to get rid of her, said Wayne Eigelbrot, the chairman of the selectmen. Anyways, I'm not going to keep going through this whole thing. But look at that crazy... That's just totally destroyed in there. And then 2010, this is a letter by the brother in a paper. He said, a 31-year mystery. I write to discuss a story, not a recent story, but one which the monitor has carried over the years, though not to the extent it deserved. Starting with a 2-paragraph blurb in 1978, that's the one I read. That statement told of the disappearance of my mom, Betty Place. A fuller story was written by the Monitor reporter Nancy Stone back in 1990s. That's that long one that we read a while ago. I was born in 1963. I was the 4th child and 3rd son of Betty Ann and George Place Jr. of Warner. Our family grew by an additional 2, both sisters, during the 1960s. On the morning of June 14, 1978, my mom went missing. A mystery that, to this day, has no more explanation than when she first disappeared. The state's new Cold Case Bureau has included my mom as one of the 100 cases investigators are attempting to solve. I want to inform your readers of the waste of taxpayer dollars by so-called cold case experts. Thus far, only one member of my mom's family has even been contacted by the so-called experts. That one member is my little sister, Wendy Ruff. Well, that's what we just read about. As an insider involved in the case, I would like to scream to the experts, as I have told my 2 daughters, don't listen to rumors. Kind of sounds exactly how he sounded in here. But I get it, your mom's missing, you want them to do more. And this is just the one on the DOJ New Hampshire website. Betty Place of Warner, New Hampshire, was last seen at her home on Joppa Road on the morning of June 14, 1978. She was reported missing the next day. Despite searches by New Hampshire State Police and other law enforcement agencies, Betty has never been found, and her disappearance has been treated as suspicious. Help us solve this case and bring justice to the family of the victim. And it doesn't have a tip line or anything like that to call for some reason. You'd think they would. I think it's a form you got to fill out. Well, it does say right here you can call 800-525-5555. All right. All right, you guys, I'll make the plea again. If you're out there and you want to help support the channel, that would be fantastic on a night like this where we covered something different. Notice the pattern, everybody? You notice the pattern? Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird. I don't know. The same year that Kathy Milliken here, what was her situation though? Let's see. Kathy Milliken was the body of 26-year-old Kathy Milliken of Sunapee was discovered. Wait, what the heck? Amy Higg? Jesus. See, that's the luck right there. Look at that luck. Anyways, thank you so much. Helping at the end of the month. Well, there you go. Well, that's coming up. Well, this will just count for that, I guess. But that's coming up. What's today? The 28th, 29th, 30th? We got today, we got tomorrow, and the next day. Let me turn on the Streamlabs. Maybe we'll get the sound effect. Thanks, FarQ, too. Let me see if we can hear that sound. I want to hear it on that one. Shattuck Funeral Home. Let's see. The woman was seen alive at approximately 5 p.m. Tuesday. The body was found at 11. I mean, it's possible, right? I mean, this is October 1978. And he had gone to other people's homes before. Thank you, Donna Aldridge. I was waiting for the sound. I don't hear it. Should be in there. Maybe I don't. No. Should be. Anyways, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, so this Donna, or Kathy Milliken here, 100 yards off Route 11 southeast of New London. Let me just see what it said about her. The autopsy was conducted at Mary Hitchcock Memorial Hospital. The body was found at 11:30 p.m. on Chandler Brook wetland area. Yeah, that's that girl that was out, bird watching, really intelligent. I don't know. But, it's only 11 miles away, same year. Guess you gotta throw it in there. I mean, what would he have done, though? Went to her house and at gunpoint, like, forced her out of the house into his car? And I don't know. Kind of doesn't make sense. Hey, you guys, it looks like Minnesota might actually win. After Dallas looked like they were going to sweep the series, but now it's probably going to go 6 games, I would imagine, if not the whole thing. Let's see. Anyway, I don't know why we didn't get the sound effects, but it would have went na 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 na. I mean, I do have that open. Yes, that's there. How about, am I not logged into? I don't know. Yeah, I'm logged in and everything, so don't know. Don't know, freaks. Can't tell you why that didn't pop up on the screen. Oh wait, that's why. There was a different Streamlab. Second one. I guess we'll have to test that out. Good night, WNC Granny. Anyways, thanks a lot there, Amy Hegg. That definitely got us to the goal there. So I appreciate it. And thanks to everybody else prior to that. Alright, so I'm going to move on now. We're going to go back to Delphi again. I made a better, so this is another, it's just cool to see it the way I got it here. I think it really just kind of shows the entire, it's like the probable cause, the really important parts, but I've added stuff to it, so I'm trying to get it to the point where it's ready for the video. So I'm going to try to work through it tonight with the thoughts that I was having today, and then make a video. Unfortunately, it's like an hour long though, But anyways, let me take a quick break for a second, and then I'll be back. I forgot, I couldn't answer the phone when my wife called. Now she's probably like, why didn't you answer the phone? All right, here we go. Yeah. Awesome. There we go. Let me get rid of that. So there you go. Now you can see this, like the words I have on there are the point of view. All right. So I'm going to turn off this music here. And here we go. It's the whole thing again. All right. So Richard Allen's house is right there on the right. He probably left, if he went this way, he left probably at 116, 117. And this is that back road that goes off to the right, and then he's going to, you know, eventually take a left on 200. I think it's 200 north, or no, it's 400. Hell, I can't remember now. Let me go back, check at the map really quick. Open up the map here. This is his house right here. Then he's going to go and take a left on that road, which is 450 north, 450 west. So he's on west 200 north, and then he's going to take a left on north 450 west. Just kind of a simple boom, boom, around, and then up like that, and then to the crime scene. So there you go. Now it's going over that Highway 25. 118. The girls, Abby and Libby, haven't even left their house yet at this point. They probably left their house at like 140 or 139. Takes about 10 minutes from their house to get there. So it's 118. And there's just some interesting things to think about, especially when we get to the part about, I mean, Richard Allen says he never saw anybody else. So wouldn't he have seen his look-alike? If he's the one, because no matter what, he went to the bridge, and Abby and Libby saw him. Now a lot of the people that are pro Richard Allen think, well, maybe he walked out at that point. But you have Betsy Blair, who didn't see anybody else that looked like him on the rest of her entire walk. So you could make the argument that he walked out and then went through the parking spot and then out to 300 North and then walked along the road back to his car. And, you know, Betsy Blair was kind of over by the Freedom Bridge at that point. But why would he do that? And then why didn't he see the person who eventually, you know, they want to claim is the bridge guy? He's there like literally 2 seconds after that. I mean, 2 minutes. You know, so he would have seen this other person that looked just like him. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, Amy, if you're still here, how's your school going? He saw his twin and ran away scared. Oh, yeah. That's right. The three girls proved when he got there and also cleared the area of him because they got there at like 12:20. So he definitely wasn't there from 12 to 1:30 because they were there that entire time and didn't see him until they were leaving. So Richard Allen's got a proven lie under his belt too when he talked to law enforcement back in October of 2022. So here's where it turns on 450, and that's when that bald eagle on the ground right there to the right takes off after it looks like it was eating a cat. Yeah. And it's going down 450. You all right, Nikki? You're... trying to make out what you guys are talking about. It was a joke, obviously, Nikki. It's not really even that funny, to be honest with you. It's just kind of... Ooh, who's that guy? Yeah, it means there's a guy that looks exactly like him at the bridge. That's what Kyle was getting at. Hey, thanks, E. Moore. Your third super chat on a live stream. Are you still there, FarQ? FarQ kept everything going for like an hour or so there. Appreciate that. All right, now here is 300, you guys. This is the road that the cemetery, Mears property, all, you know, everything's on. It just kind of winds around. Well, thank you, FarQ, too. And everybody, but, you know, FarQ also got 5 memberships tonight, and I'm not saying... I hate that name. Jesus. I mean, it's sort of funny, but, you know. So look what time it is, 1:23. In 3 minutes from now, those 3 girls will be standing by a bench, and I think it's the very first bench after you exit, you know, enter into the trail system. Now, this is Wilson Bridge. This is the same bridge that Derek goes over, and at 3:11, when he comes there to pick the kids up after going to Frankfort, Indiana, to take photographs for Becky's appraisal business. I don't really hate it. It's just every time I say it, I have to do a disclaimer. 124. Oh, really? Oh. Well, thanks, E. Moore. Oh, see, now it's working. Oh, there's 2 of them? Yeah, just winding around. Sorry for the junk on the camera, but it's a pretty cool setup, though. Notice the camera's really still. I've got a... Oh, it says, interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles, RV, BW, and AS. They advised they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13, 2017. They advised they were walking on the trail towards the Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered a male walking from Freedom Bridge towards the Monon High Bridge. BW showed investigators photographs she took on her phone while she was on the trail that day. The photographs included a photo of the Monon High Bridge taken at 12:43 p.m. and another one taken at 1:26 p.m. Notice the time up above, of the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. BW advised after she took the photo of the bench, they started walking back towards the Freedom Bridge. She advised that's when they encountered the man who matched the description of the photograph taken from victim 2's video, which was Libby. So that's about right now. They're by that bench taking photographs, and they're just still probably standing there, chatting. Everybody makes it sound like it's always linear. Because they took a photograph at 126, they immediately started just walking quickly back to the Freedom Bridge, when all evidence shows that they were really just lingering around, walking slowly, doing different things, etc. All right, so this is 126. Now, this is Richard Allen's view here. This is him in the car driving at 126 and 49 seconds. Passes the parking area right now. The mirrors are on the right. That's where Libby and Abby were dropped off. That's where Betsy Blair parked back there. Investigators discovered Richard Allen owned 2 vehicles in 2017, a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Investigators observed a vehicle that resembled Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the Hoosier Harvester video at 127. We just passed that. Traveling westbound on CR 300 North in front of the Hoosier Harvest store. I guess I don't have to go back. Well, you don't have to read it. Anyways, he drives up here and he parks at the old abandoned, the abandoned building. Eventually, he says he parked on the side of an old building, which is exactly what he does. And here it is. Pulls in. Now, there was a building right here on the right, and he backed into it. I'm just pulled up right next to the trail, and here's the same trail. Now we have a 360-degree camera, but this is just showing, it's not used as a 360 now because it's just a recording of my screen while I was moving around with the 360-degree camera. And now it's 128. And this is Richard Allen walking to the Freedom Bridge. So currently, and those 3 girls are still on the trail over there. They were just at that bench, and they're just probably still lingering around there. And then at some point, they start moving. They might even be walking currently as we speak. And this is still Richard Allen's view. See down the left, I have I switched names out back down here. Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. This is Dan Doolin's interview. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trailhead, however, did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or video. See that? He did not see anybody else. So his own words just kill him. I mean, wouldn't he have walked by the look-alike? Right, like when he was at the bridge and Abby and Libby got there, if it's not him, then when he was walking back, he must have passed the look-alike, unless you're saying he was hiding in the woods just waiting for you to leave so he could attack them. I mean, give me a break. I mean, it's not reasonable. So that whole thing, reasonable doubt? There isn't reasonable doubt here. It's unreasonable. It's just something like, oh God, okay, so we have to use mental, see, if something's possible, it doesn't make it reasonable. And look what time, so now it's 1:30. I had him passing the girls at the 3 girls at 1:34 before. It still could be something like that. He might have spent more time in his car, and then he walked quicker. So it's just, you kind of have a variance of time here, but it's the way I have it. We walk at a pretty rapid pace from here, and it's still, he gets to the bridge at 1:44, exactly how I have it, even when he passes the girls at 1:34, the 3 girls, not Abby and Libby. And he passes them right when you get into this wooded area here, and you'll see the wording change in the bottom left of the screen. And there's Robert Ives, who was kind enough to take me out there. Apparently he passes the 3 girls as he enters into here. And now you can see why it's a little darker in here, right? Now, on October 13th, 2022, Richard Allen was interviewed again by investigators. He advised he was on the trails on February 13th. He stated he saw juvenile girls on the trails east of the Freedom Bridge and that he went onto the Monon High Bridge. Richard Allen further stated he went out onto the Monon High Bridge to watch the fish. Later in his statement, he said he walked out to the first platform on the bridge. So he says he goes straight from here, straight to the bridge. We don't know why he was out there. We thought maybe, it still could be that there was some connection to Keegan Klein through a Dropbox connection, or, we just don't know. And we're walking at a good pace here. We're about to pass the wackos that showed up there and tried to block our way on the trail because I covered the Flora fire case years ago, and I didn't cover it the way they wanted me to. Hopefully what comes up in the trial. Yeah, I mean, of course they're going to try to figure out why he was there. I think we're going to find something out, maybe from his daughter and the husband of the daughter. I mean, who knows? What does that mean? Yeah, I already read that part, Greg. Yeah, he was wearing... well, I have it at the end of this video too, but he said he was wearing light blue jeans, a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hoodie and some sort of head covering. And don't forget, if you want to help support the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. If we didn't have Higg in here, Amy Higg, we'd be at 35%. Hey, thanks, Cheryl Bullock. He'll end up playing guilty before the trial. Pleading guilty? Yeah, I've thought of that. We just brought that up the other day. I think it's possible that he'll plead guilty. So you can tell these people aren't walking slowly, right? Like, it's a good rate. So that's what we're walking at, that rate right there. Thank you, Cheryl Bullock. Alright. So there's a bench coming up here. The reason it's wiggling around so much is because that's when we were arguing, or I was arguing with that idiot on there, so.
Chewbacca?
Oh, I'll do Chewbacca if you want me to.
Yeah, they wouldn't scoot over. They blocked our road on purpose. See? And now I'm talking for a second, but... So stupid. I mean, what kind of people do that shit? God, it's unreal. Anyways, right here, I think this is the bench that the 3 girls were at taking pictures. There was 4 girls. One was like 9 years old, so she's not a witness or anything. And look, see, I mean, look at Robert Ives. He's walking pretty quick, right? That's not like a slow, lumbering gait. You know, you're trying to, we're moving. It's probably 4 miles an hour-ish. Oh, and thank you, Elizabeth, for the PayPal. Oh, and Amy as well. That was nice. Thank you. Oh, and then also... I got a Venmo, but they wanted their name anonymous, so thank you. There's the second bench here. I was trying to compare the height of the road behind compared to the picture, and I don't know, that could be the spot, that bench. I just don't know. And it would sort of make sense because it took 7 minutes to walk there, and you take 26, so it's more likely the first bench that we went to, because they could have left right there and they would have ran right into him at the start of the bridge. Yeah, you don't want to know anything about those people, Jamie. I think it's sad that so many people started following the case after Richard Allen got arrested. And it's like, what? It was like there was so much stuff going on over the years. How did it only get into your mind at that point? Anyways, just to the left there is where you park the car. Daniel Pearson has nothing to do with anything. Yeah, he wasn't there. That whole thing is garbage. See, that's what sucks, is you went and listened to somebody and believed it. Right, yeah. See, that's what's garbage. Yeah, that guy had nothing to do with anything. Unfortunately, you believed somebody that you heard somebody say something, and now it became reality to you. Alright, so we just passed the area where the... wait, what happened? Hold on, where are we at here? Oh yeah, this is right. So this is still just Richard Allen's point of view, but he does pass the 3 girls earlier that showed up on the screen. Yeah, don't look it up, Nikki. Don't look it up. It was just some ridiculous theory, and unfortunately, like that garage, True Crime Garage, where the hell they perpetuated it, and it's just total garbage. Okay. And then suckers like Jamie up there actually listened to it and believed it. I didn't mention Daniel Pearson. I never mentioned his name one time. Until today, since you've mentioned it. And what does it matter if you're educated or not? What a stupid comment. I'm an educated person in another state. Well, thank you. Thank you for telling us that you were educated, because now whatever you say means more. Yeah, I've never talked about Daniel Pearson in my life on this channel. I guess apparently I could have mentioned it about a conspiracy theory 3 years ago or something, but other than that, I've never talked about him. Right. I'm an educated person. Oh, Jesus. I'm a paralegal, everybody. Therefore, I... Alright, so now this is him walking, you know. We're still walking at a good pace here. You know, so if he walked quicker, maybe he spent more time in his car, maybe got there a minute earlier than 1:43. It doesn't really matter. 1:33, 1:44. Yeah, people often come in here like trolls and they pretend things, so we hear it and they go, "Oh, great, man, you're the one that talked." I've never talked about Daniel Pearson. I think you must be thinking of Greeno or somebody, one of the wackos that actually cover shit like that. All right, let's see, 1:43. And so look at it. If there was another person, this is 1:43, right? So wouldn't Richard Allen see somebody here that looks like him, you know? Because he's walking over here, and there's a small window of time. You know, it's interesting when, you know, this other YouTuber's covering something similar. He goes, "It's possible, everybody. The timeline is possible." As if like, you know, it's a stretch to make it work, but it's possible. No, it's like literally is exactly what happened. I mean, Richard Allen got there. He went to the bridge. He got here at 1:44. He's standing here. Now, if you want to pretend that he headed off to the left, investigators spoke with Betsy Blair, who advised she was on the trails on February 13, 2017. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store captured Betsy's vehicle traveling eastbound at 1:46. Look what time it is up there. Towards the entrance across from the Mears farm. And then it says, Betsy advised there were no other cars parked across from the Mears farm when she parked. She advised she walked to the Monon High Bridge and observed a male matching the one from Libby's video. She described the male she saw as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. She advised he was standing on the first platform, boy, who said that earlier, of the Monon High Bridge approximately 50 feet from her. She advised she turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. She advised approximately halfway between the bridge and the parking area across from the Mears farm, she passed two girls walking towards the Monon High Bridge. She advised she believed the girls were Abby and Libby. All right, so this part, I don't have video correlation in here because it's just him standing. And then pretty soon I show the Betsy Blair vehicle driving the red vehicle in the animation, but that's all. There isn't any other thing to show during this sort of small minute 44 to like 1:46 almost. Yeah, maybe EG, maybe. Right, so here comes, this is Betsy Blair. She's coming around. And then, you know, around 1:46, she passes the Hoosier Harvest Store right here. comes down, and then it's going to park at the parking area across from the Mears property. And drives in and parks the car. And then she'll get out of the vehicle in a moment. Now what I have are two different videos from Betsy Blair's eyes and then Abby and Libby's eyes walking down the trail. It's pretty, I think it's pretty interesting. I think you're kind of rude, Jamie. You said I watched I brought up a person I've never discussed in my life, so isn't that kind of rude, Jamie? Yeah. All right, so here it is. That's Betsy Blair got out of her car and starts walking like this. I'll take my leave. Like we're reading some kind of novel. Here we go. So this is Betsy Blair now. And this is a kind of a normal pace. She could have been walking a little quicker because she was there to exercise. Don't really know. What? The volume is way low? I don't think so. Looks good to me. You might have to turn your audio up. I mean, maybe I can figure out a way to... Oh, I see. Well, I can boost it up manually on the side. How about that? But it was at a good level. It was at 10. No. Yeah. Video from the Hoosier Harvest store shows at 1:49 p.m. a white car matching Kelsey German. Look at the time on the screen. Traveling away from the entrance across from the Mears farm. So that's when Kelsey at 1:49. So just a little bit after this, Kelsey's car drives by the Hoosier Harvest store. So Betsy's already walking. This is from Betsy Blair's eyes right here. Okay? And she's walking. She's exercising. So she's got a good pace going. And the girls, Abby and Libby, they don't really have a pace. They're just kind of there to chill out like the other three girls were. You know, it took them a long time to walk from A to B. That probably doesn't need to stay on the screen that long. It does come off, though. There it is. So this is Betsy Blair. And she's just walking down the trail. 1:49 now. Richard Allen has been at the bridge now for about 5 minutes. Now, if he had left the bridge, let's say he went there to look at fish for a minute and turned around, Betsy Blair would be passing him right now. Okay, so if Richard Allen went to the bridge, looked at fish, then walked back down the trail, she would be passing Richard Allen right around now. But he didn't do that. So Richard Allen's still at the bridge because he didn't look at fish for 2 seconds. Okay? If somebody's going to the bridge to look for fish, they're going to look at fish. They're not going to just do for 2 seconds, right? They're going to look around and, yeah, that's what you're doing, right? That's what he claims he went and did. But he wasn't doing that. He was waiting for a possible victim. He may have intentionally been waiting for Abby and Libby. We just don't have any information regarding that currently. All right, so she's walking right here. Betsy Blair is 1:50:45. And right at that, right as it turns sharply there, that's a spot where you can see both directions really well. And that's kind of almost like halfway-ish. You know, but if you think if he got there at 1:44, Richard Allen, and he turned around and walked back at 1:47, he'd be halfway, and then 1:50 would be right at the parking area. But look where Betsy Blair already is at 151. She's way past that. So Richard Allen would have had to sprint down there, and you know, I mean, you could that's the only argument they could come up with. Richard Allen went to the bridge and looked at fish for three seconds. Then he turned around and sprinted like Carl Lewis to get way down the trail so that Betsy Blair couldn't see him when she got out onto the trails. So right around in here, she could probably tell there was somebody down at the bridge. Maybe it's hard to say, though, because that platform 1's off to the right, maybe behind that tree a little bit. So this is still Betsy Blair. She's walking. Right now, Abby and Libby are on the trails behind her. That they're walking slower, so they're probably, you know, a little ways past the... As soon as you take that first left onto the trails from the parking area, they're probably, you know, 100 yards down the road. Yeah, nobody said he's going to the bridge to look for fish, Jarvis. He's just saying that because he was there to do something else. He's trying to give you a reason why he was at the bridge. I mean, it is clear water at times, and you can see into it, but, you know, there might be times where he looked in the water and saw fish, you know, but then now he's claiming that that's why he was there this time. Right, so this is Betsy Blair right here. And she makes her way right to the start of the bridge. This is exactly what it looked like back then. This is video from March of 2017. You know, the only stuff that wasn't there were the memorial flowers and all that. So she makes her way right here. Now look, there's platform 1 right there. And that's where somebody was standing. And I don't know how you get a good look at somebody standing over there. And now, right around in here, this is Abby and Libby now. So now it's 153. You know, they got dropped off at 149. Maybe they're just kind of chilling out, slowly walking. And this is kind of where I have them. Now they're walking down the trail. This is Abby and Libby. So I guess they were just kind of getting onto the trails right there. Yeah, maybe they looked at their phone. They were walking slow. Maybe they hung out at the bench there for a little bit. Don't really know. Maybe they walked down this trail and they were a little bit further and just sort of stopped for a while and then they kept moving. I mean, that's the thing. We don't get to know that. You know, they were taking pictures of stuff. I'm just setting up the time frame because here's what we do know is that Abby and Libby passed Betsy Blair halfway between the parking area and the bridge. So that's a fixed time that you could kind of say, okay, well, Betsy Blair, her time would have been, because she was just walking, turned around, walked, and you can really come up with a pretty precise time frame that at about 1:56 or 7, that's when Abby and Libby passed Betsy Blair on the trail. Probably more like 1:56. So you'll see that on the clock here. 1:45, 1:54, 56, almost 1:55. Wow, time flies. Thanks, Gray. Love this freaky fam. All right. 17 months for Nikki Zubs. So it's kind of a cool way to look at it, right? Because you already had Betsy Blair. Now she's walking towards the girls at this point. In fact, you could probably see her right on that curve up there at this point. And they're walking, and Betsy Blair's just kind of doing her thing, walking back towards them. It's the same video, however. Well, I hope it happens in October. Hey, greatest 40 months. Well, hey, thank you. Thanks for your loyalty for 40 months. Very cool. It's 1:56:05, and then in a moment here, the wording changes at the bottom. There it is. So Libby and Abby passed Betsy Blair right now. This is halfway between the bridge and the parking area. Okay, so right then they passed her, and now it's 1:56-ish, you know. I would be at the trial right now, almost over, if I was there. If it would happen when it was supposed to. I think I got the kind of the darker gray. I might have to try to get a new car here because our kid needs a car now. Yeah, so I'm trying to do something. It's going to be like the matte gray color. I think it looked kind of cool. It's not the color of the one I have now. It's kind of a matte gray. Another Forester. 37 months for Rhea Mazaron. I remember when you started here. Back in the day. Look at time. 1:57:33 seconds. So this is Abby and Libby right here. This is their visual moment now. Like we've already got Betsy Blair is walking behind them. She's just going to continue her walk and get back to her car at 2:14. Or not, like more like 2:13, and then drove by the Hoosier Harvest store at 2:14. Yeah, I'm thinking. I've thought that he might plead. If he does plead guilty, I think they need to have an accounting of what happened, regardless. I don't give a damn if he wants to plead. If he pleads guilty, the only way I would accept it is if there's a public accounting of absolutely what happened, not some sort of, well, you know, we just. I don't know. He doesn't seem like the one reason I don't think he would plea is because he killed 2 girls. And that would make a very uncomfortable life in prison type of situation. Hey, wow, thanks so much, Lisa Wilkerson. Great, thank you for all the time you put into each show. You're the best. Well, thank you. It is like 3 hours a day. On the show part. And look what time it is, 1:59. I kind of had to slow it down a little bit because they were just there to goof around, you know. They weren't there hustling to be somewhere at a certain time, in my opinion. This is Abby and Libby. Oh, I think it might show up this time. We might hear it. Okay, now I'm switching over to more footage, though, you guys. So what do you got? There it is. That was right at 2 o'clock. Did you see that? That was sweet.
Great. Thank you for all the time you put into each show. You're the best.
Well, thank you. All right. So now this is Abby and Libby. They get onto the bridge. The bridge guy, they just passed, as I put in the notes there, and he walked back behind him. And here's platform 1 now. So this is the whole. Isn't this pretty cool though? Like this is the full hour. It's like basically an hour of time from 1:15 when he leaves the house to 2:15. That's when he has him go down the hill. So this is Libby and Abby right now, and he's behind him. And then I think I switch over to another camera here. You know, and Abby's really slow on the bridge, so they're just kind of, yeah, so I switched cameras. Almost the exact spot. You couldn't even tell almost other than the color change. Yeah, Abby was really slow on there because she hadn't been across it before. I think his attorneys want him to, you know, they're kind of like a cash cow now. You know, you just kind of 5 more months of easy paychecks coming in. Now I switched over to this one now. So this is Abby and Libby on the bridge. I thought that was such a cool filter that I put on that camera footage. I think this is maybe Julie Melvin's video from a long time ago, when she was almost sane at the beginning, but see, it's 2:02 and 48 seconds. And one of the documents out there, couldn't find which one it was, but I remember reading it recently. They actually gave out for the first time the time of the first photograph that Abby took. Hey, where'd that show up from? Thanks, Lori B. Was that a PayPal one, or? I didn't see that. Oh, there it is over here. Oh wow, this screen's so far behind over here. Crazy. All right, here we go. And then in a minute here, this is where I bring in the animation. So there you go. So here's Libby. And right now, Richard Allen's maybe, perhaps even still back in the woods, but just starting to get, you know, he'll be entering onto the bridge pretty soon. So there's a full shot of the bridge. And that's the shot that she took right there. That one was at 2:04. Look at the clock at the top there. All right, so here they go. They keep on going. Who's been together all day? All of us? Now, let me guess, you were watching something somewhere else together. It's Hughes, not Hughes. All right. And so they just continue walking. You know, they're just really slow because Abby's like trying to, you know, making sure her feet are in the right place, etc. That's a video, that animation I made, I think one of them 6 years ago at this point. And it's amazing how accurate it still is, turned out to be. Yeah, the problem is you don't really know exactly like what they're doing and stuff. So I just had to slow things down to match when the photos were taken. So there's another photo taken at 2:07 on platform 3 right here. And they're probably just walking around taking different photographs, and maybe they didn't upload to Snapchat all of them. So here's the one on platform 3 where Libby goes up there, and it's pretty cool how I got the shadows on there too on the actual videos. This is just a matte of them on a video. So it takes this picture at about 2:07 here. And there's the picture she took right there on the right. And then they continue on their way across the bridge. Yeah, so coming up here, probably right about now is when he's really making his move on the other side of the bridge towards them. And it could be that they saw him coming and then they started moving quicker off to the end because they didn't want to pass that guy, Richard Allen. So a moment here I show you what I think it kind of looks like. And this is what I made. I made this 6 years ago, by the way. So Libby's probably quite a ways up there, maybe another 50 feet or so, and Abby's way behind, just kind of plodding along. Yeah, so it's almost 2:09. And I think it's really, Abby's pretty slow. That's why it takes them so long to get across. Yeah, maybe they're just looking at stuff, taking pictures. Well, thanks, Greg. Has the video shown up where it looks backwards at the guy coming towards them? I think it might be right around in here. And when I say the guy, I mean Richard Allen. Well, it's almost 2:10. Now, see how he's in the background there? I think that's what it looked like. Just like this. He's coming at him, but he's moving quick. And they're still trying to, just kind of make their way across. But you can get across that bridge in 3 or 4 minutes, but they were way slower than that. Because it took 6 minutes from the 3rd platform to get across. So he's walking 4 times faster than they are. As a group. And just about to walk by the forked tree here on the right. Almost 2:11. No, it's not. It is Richard Allen, Dolly. See, that's people like you that you don't understand how it is not anybody else. It is Richard Allen. There is nothing reasonable that makes it not him. Okay? Now, you might want to believe that with your buddies and all that shit, but it's just not going to be true. That's true. It was Richard Allen's twin. You're right. Looked just like him. Literal clone. He didn't know he had one, though. That's the weird part. Is his twin has been trying to set up his other twin, Richard, his whole life, and finally found that opportunity. You know, he was hiding in the woods, and he knew what Richard was wearing that day, so he wore the same clothing. And then when Richard Allen... But where did Richard Allen go, though? I mean, where did he go? Because why didn't Betsy Blair see him? Oh, well, I guess we tried. We tried to make something work. But where did Richard Allen go? Okay, so sure, the twin went onto the bridge. But where did Richard Allen go when Betsy Blair didn't see him? He walked. So the only thing that he could have done is walk back and go out of the parking area. Hey, how about this, Dolly Good? He is Bridge Guy. Now, you might not want to believe it. And every one of you clowns always say, how about innocent till proven guilty? Yeah, because you said the same thing with OJ, right? Yeah. He stated he parked his car on the side of an old building. He told investigators he was wearing a blue jeans and a blue jacket. Carhartt jacket with a hood. He advised he may have been wearing some sort of head covering. Oh, look at that. Here he comes. And there it is, 213. Takes him out the end of the bridge. 213, like 30 seconds or so. It's only a 43-second long video. We know that he's not guilty yet. He is the killer, though, Dolly Good. Just letting you know, all right? Just like Brian Koberger is the killer. Just like Stefan Stearns is the abuser. All right, so he has them. I could probably shorten that time up there, but here he is, taking the girls down the hill and then across the creek. Yeah, it's funny how these people, they're lunatics, man. Lunatics. And they always say the same thing. In cases they believe that the crazy psychos are innocent, they spout out, he's innocent till proven guilty, as if we don't have the ability to have an opinion. Richard Allen has been arrested for the murders of Abby and Libby. The probable cause document absolutely places Richard Allen as the bridge guy, no matter what. He is the bridge guy. That's the thing. There's no chance that he's not the bridge guy. Zero. You can't come up with an alternate theory that makes any sense whatsoever, because Richard Allen is the bridge guy. Once you realize he's the bridge guy, then you have to realize that he's the one that said girls down the hill, and therefore is at least responsible for felony murder, as he's the one that kidnapped them. Yeah, we shall see. But I believe he's 100% the guy. So you just don't get the case, though. That's the thing, Dollygood. You won't take the time to go really understand why it's locked in. You guys just do your little stupid Odinist bullcrap on the side and just whine and complain about all this, oh, the judge and everything. The probable cause nails him. Richard Allen, he told police, he told Dan Doolin he got there from 1:30 to 3:30, which is right here. He gets out of the vehicle, passes 3 girls. The girls took a picture at a bench at 1:26 as they were leaving. Therefore, Richard Allen was getting there at 1:30 as he came in. Then he walked down in this direction. And he goes to the bridge, gets to the bridge about 1:44. Then Betsy Blair, who drove there, she got to the bridge at she passed here at 1:46. And then gets here probably 1:47, gets out, makes her way, gets to the bridge at 1:53-ish. Then she turns around and walks back this way after seeing Richard Allen standing on platform 1 exactly where he said he was standing, wearing his light blue jeans, his dark blue jacket, Carhartt jacket, with a hoodie and some sort of head covering. Then she walks back this direction and passes Abby and Libby at like 1:56 or 1:57. Then Abby and Libby are heading this direction, and the only person they could then run into would be Richard Allen. Now you might say, well, that's when Richard Allen just left. Okay, but Betsy Blair walked these trails. If you say that Richard Allen took a right this way and went out onto the road to get back to his car, you would ask, why would he do that when he literally walked down the trail this way and would just go back out the same way? But you could say, oh, he went this way, but he didn't say that he did that. He never told anybody that he did that. He also said he didn't see any other people there that day other than the 3 girls. So that means he didn't see his look-alike. He didn't see anybody else at all. So therefore it is him here. Now his story about getting there at 12 to 1:30 isn't true either, because these girls got to the bridge at 12:43. That means they got to the trails walking this direction probably at 12:20 and walked this way. They didn't see anybody that looked like Richard Allen. They didn't see anybody that looked like Richard Allen here at 12:43. They didn't see anybody that looked like Richard Allen all the way back this way. They didn't see anybody that looked like Richard Allen at the bench here. And then they walked this direction. And finally, at about 1:34, they passed a guy that looked just like Richard Allen as he's coming in. So those 3 girls cleared him on his attempted alibi, which was totally bogus, from 12 to 1:30. That didn't work. So 1:30 to 3:30 does work, and it's proven by those 3 girls. So that means it is him at the bridge here that Betsy Blair saw, and therefore, since nobody else saw him leave or anything, he's still here. Abby and Libby likely pass him. He walks back here a little bit, hides in the woods. Then when he sees them get across, he follows them across. Then an individual, Richard Allen, wearing the light blue jeans, the dark blue jacket, a hoodie, and some sort of head covering, comes towards the girls at the end of the bridge and forces them down the hill and goes across the creek, and their bodies are found over here. I mean, it's just so clear and obvious, and man, that would have been such a great summation in the like at a trial that I just did there. Hey, thanks Billy, and welcome. So his twin also bought the same type of car. Isn't that weird? Man, that's crazy. See, common sense no matter what. So I'm going to make a video just of this and put it out there, and it's just going to be what it is. It's for people to see and visualize. I might edit it a little bit, shorten some stuff up and things, but other than that, I think it's pretty good. Yeah, his twin borrowed his gun. That's the cool part. He went into the house and yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it, you guys. What do you think? I think that was 2 hours and 53 minutes. So thank you to Osiris Stewart, Dan H., Live Free or Die, a new member, K-Me, Amber Maiden, Cheryl, Ashley Hansen, Allie Cake, Linda Howell, Amy Moore, then Far Q gifted 5 memberships, then Far Q, then WNC Granny. WNC Granny gifted a membership, then Far Q, then Paulette Leonard, then Amber Maiden gifted a membership. Far Q gifted another membership. Alley Cat, Far Q again, then Wendy Van Rokel, then Flounder 23, then Michelle H, then Alley Cake, then Far Q again, then Pancakes, then Far Q, then Zozo, then Far Q, then Alley Cake, then Far Q, then Peter, then Fark you, then Alley Kick, then Fark you, then Fark you. Fark you. Fark you, Fark you. And then Donna Aldridge, E. Moore, Cheryl Bullock, then Nikki Zub, 17 months, Lisa Wilkerson, 40, and then Lisa Wilkerson, Cat Eye. You know what's weird is the Amy Higg double Cat Eye doesn't show up on this recap, but it looked like the total is in there. So then Lori B, and then Billy, and Little Puppy Paws. Thank you.
And the state rests.
Anyways, didn't you think? Yeah, thank you. And that's just it. I mean, that all you have to do is that part right there, and you prove that that's Richard Allen as bridge guy. Now, law enforcement has a ton more. Their phone information, all that stuff is going to lock him in again. He confessed to the murders to his wife and mother multiple times in one phone call, and then upon noticing how damaging it was, the defense went into protection mode and tried to pretend that he only confessed because he was crazy, therefore it was a false confession, which it wasn't. Okay, so he confessed. You know, it just is what it is, you guys. If it quacks like a duck, it's not an Odinist. That was pretty damn good, man. If it quacks like a duck, it's an Odinist. Or how about... Oh, shit. Anyways. That'd be a good t-shirt, wouldn't it? If it quacks like a duck, it's an Odinist. Yeah. That's what they believe. No, that's amazing, Kyle. That's absolutely incredible. Yeah. So, anyways, thank you guys for being here tonight. Is this live? Are they? Oh yeah. Yep. They're blinking. The eyes are blinking. That's them. They're there. You're actually rolling on the floor, laughing your ass off. Pretty good, pretty good. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for all the support. Appreciate it. We got tonight, tomorrow, and one more other day, and then we go on to our final donation night of the month, and then we start all over again. Pretty crazy. What do you mean, the defense? That far ahead before globbing into Odinist theory. Yeah. Well, the Odinist thing is it's so ridiculous that and that's why it sucks that there was even an investigation. So apparently you can never investigate anything other again in a case, because if you do, the defense will use your investigation into somebody else, a third party, and concoct an entire separate theory just for themselves. I mean, it's insane. So, I mean, the way it comes down to this is what the defense is going to have to say. That the prosecution found an absolutely viable suspect, and they should have been the suspect, but they didn't want to do the arrest because, now notice the patches on the guards at the jail that he's at, the prison. See, there's Odinists all over the place, and they're protecting other Odinists. So they wanted to pin it on... They wanted to pin it on some random person. They tried to do Ron Logan, boy. They got the FBI in there. They just couldn't do it. They tried all these other people, and then Keegan Kline, they worked their asses out. They tried to. And their one fail-safe, though, was the bullet shell they had left at the scene that they collected from a lackey that was ejected from his gun, and they placed it there. And if all else failed, they would just wait for 5 or 6 years and use that as their final out, because they couldn't pin it on Ron Logan, a dead guy, which is hard to believe, and they couldn't pin it on the Kleins, so they just put the ejected bullet on the ground, and it would just be like, wow, where'd this bullet come from? But when they got the name, once all else failed, they got Richard Allen's name because they knew it was his, and they pretend that they got it out of a, I mean, just, you see how unreasonable it is, their story? It's crazy. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Well, they just gonna get ya. Went into his house and ejected a bullet without his knowledge. That's how they do
Crime
it.
sector is my nectar.
Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a protector.
Fool deflector, interceptor,
And I'm neither than a spectre with a vector.
on his specter. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking
Injection, I have no agenda. I'm a pretender, and I'll say the thing is spread without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya. I'm a nation down the hill to offender.
Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody. Talk to you.
Wow, that was fantastic. Mary Lou?
Yeah, that's my name.
Oh, boy. All right. Anyways, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Yeah. So I'm going to make the video, probably tomorrow. I'm just going to play the thing and narrate it. And then I'm just going to upload it for, a lot of people don't watch these long live streams. So I'm going to put it out there and see what it does. Maybe some people will just realize. Maybe it'll make a difference to some people. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And be safe out there.